Just fucking,
Uh-huh.
it derails my typical line of questioning because you're already into it. You've already been, so where you're like encouraged to just actually choose your own musical choices from a youthful age. This is part of the culture. Is like most, and I'm not
Yes,
trying to
bro.
be facetious here. Did most of y'all at like 7 years old were already like fucking downloading shit?
Bro, I would say that there's no boundaries for kids like me coming up in terms of musically, man, because we had YouTube already going, we had iTunes going, we had Crosswire, we had LimeWire. Like you could listen to anything you want.
So why I ask it like this, I'm gonna ask it using the parable of like, let's say 98. You and Hoshi are the only people of your age group so far I've really talked to. Everyone
Go
else has
ahead.
had
Okay.
very different structures to this line of questioning,
Okay.
believe it or
Okay.
not. So, well,
Uh-huh.
for you, it's, and I hear what you're saying. I get it with exposure to everything. But for a lot of people, they don't even give a shit about music in their own journey or identity until about 8, 9 years old.
Mm.
Puberty is usually when people, because that's when you would start to connect with music and it became part of your cultural identity. So, music genre affiliation was a big part of cultural identity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much it still is, but I do believe the lines are a lot more blurred today. But it used to
I would
be
agree
like,
with that.
yeah,
I would agree
like
with
you
that.
fucked with punk and you fucked with punk. And you were kind of weird if you fucked with everything, you know? Like people will still say, I'm kind of
Mm.
weird. Look, my playlist has everything on it. People will still say that to me today. Like,
Bro, I personally believe there's no more genres, bro. Genres is a thing of the past, and like people like XXX Tentacion is like the perfect example of that, bro. You would run through his album, starts off with a straight up pop song, bro. Then he goes trap, then he goes like on some grimy emo like screamo thing. He's all over the place, and I think that along with other artists, but I'm thinking him in particular because I think he was one of like the pioneers of like the movement of there's no more genres. This guy had a song on his album called I Don't Even Speak Spanish, LOL,
I was going to
and it
bring
was a
that
lot,
song up because
and it
I've,
was a Latin it
oh,
was
it's
a
so
Latin
good.
banger.
It's so
But
good.
that gives a perfect example of genres are done, man. Genres are done. People are people of my age are making music. They'll drop one song, it's a pop song, one song it's a trap song, one song it's a screamo song, man. Like it doesn't even matter anymore. You don't need to fit a pocket and stick to it, which I think helps us in a way because now it's limitless. You can go in so many different directions if you're able to, obviously. But
Mm.
I think that it's evolved and it's not like you're not really locked in the same corner as you used to be. Now you can move around and just
So
pick what you
I
want.
like what Z said. Z just popped in the chat. Shout out Z. There will always be genres in a sense of vocabulary. We need descriptions to communicate, and I agree with that. Labels are good. But what I'm saying is the cultural affiliation to genres has changed.
I guess it's true. The word I use it wrong in the terms of like there are still genres, but one artist be could follow any lane of different genres he wants to,
But still, a lot of
is what I
artists are
mean.
like, even within your group of people, a lot of people kind of like, there are really versatile artists, but there's also a
Yeah.
lot of people who do the same thing on repeat.
Well, because bro, a lot of people live off the narrative that if it works once, it'll work again. So if they have one song that goes off that it's like an R&B song, then boom, they're gonna hit the R&B wave until it pops again, because that's what worked for them the first time. I think a lot of people ride their own wave, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they could technically only do that. They can probably do more than that.
I think most people could do way more than just one thing. And keep
There
in
you
mind,
go.
I always fuck with new metal, right? That was one of my favorite genres of music because I was
Okay.
12 when new metal's coming back now, which is like the most incredible thing in the world to me. That's like what Travis Barker does with everybody. If you see
Okay.
Travis
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Barker,
Yeah. Yeah.
then it's a
Travis
new,
Barker. I know who he is. Yeah.
because he's fucking with everybody and he's the great.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
but like, I mean, I grew up on like Linkin Park and shit back when Linkin Park like sounded like they did
Okay.
in 2000. That was like my favorite stuff in the world. And it's so cool to see you guys talk about music because it's such a different perspective than the conversations I normally have. Like to me, this is really refreshing. Like it's almost like really inspiring. Like yo, the future is as bright as I think it is with y'all. That's my belief.
Yeah.
Is y'all are really wise about your approach because you're doing and saying things like this. But like, yo, new metal got hated on so heavy for blending genre lines. Like it was trashed by all the purists of all the purist genres, and it used to be like, I think, mad fucking cool to be a purist and to be the best at that. Like if you look at how
Okay.
And so,
Yeah, people would pick their niche and dominate the niches was the old mentality, I assume, right?
yeah. And so what you're conveying is that people have now gotten over themselves, and it's okay and cool to like a lot of things. Like, yo, trust, I want to make
Mm-hmm.
all the kinds of music, believe it or not. And if you actually check my sound, it is definitely not static. I don't think it is. I think, well, if you check it in 10 years, it won't be. I have a lot of ideas. I want to fucking make a punk band. Like, I have a lot of ideas. It's just like, you know, time, money, etc., whatever. And I think it's cool that the direction is going, because I don't necessarily think a lot of people believe that, right? Like you said, they get
Yeah.
pigeonholed in their thinking in all groups, but a lot of y'all are bold and really are versatile. I'm seeing it. Like, some of y'all are dropping boom bops one week and you're like saucing it up the next week, and it's like, but what I
Yeah,
find
bro.
really cool, like, just for you, to give you some flowers, right? Your content is nice. Like, your content, like what you actually make songs about, is really nice. I find
Thank
it
you, man.
positive. I find it insightful. I find it like
Thank
you,
you.
and that shit. I don't know. I hope if that shit gets cool, I'm very excited about the future. Is all I'm saying. Like, if that's what people are at with it, like, that's fucking dope. That authenticity, I like it a lot. That's always what
I
I've
I
fucking
think
been
it's
drawn to in music.
I think it's coming back, man. I think it's coming back because of where the world is headed in terms of like mental health and stuff like that, man. Like, and we were talking about earlier, like vulnerability and not being afraid to talk about real life, real emotion, real life experiences. I think, bro, the songs that are performing the best for me are the ones that are the most personal, the ones that are most
Mm,
vulnerable. You know, like people can relate to it. If it's relatable, it's gonna go
that's
because
facts.